No, it's Clive Roxinger here. Well, I've got the footy on, I forgot to turn the radio off. I've been putting me press through its paces, as you can see here. Now they're only bits of plate, no big deal. I'm finding that I can do things that I've never been able to do before with this press. I'm going up to the workbench. It's still a bit squeezy here. I've got most of the stuff off the floor that I was tripping over. And a highly technical wiring setup. What I found is that I had this piece, and I actually had it set aside because it was bent. And I got on the press and I was able to bloody well panel beat it, and I pressed it out. It had a big dent in it, so it was kind of, I wouldn't use it because I'm very fussy with stuff, and I'll make it, just kind of treat this like new work. And there was a piece of apparatus that had it was a bit up a track because I'm in a rural area, and it was one of these things. It had a kind of a tine on that, some sort of digger ripper. Don't know anything about rural stuff. That was a digger of some sort, some sort of ripper. But those pins in this were heat pressed in. Man, were they hard to get out. But I wanted the bits off this because it's some very handy bits and pieces, and it turned out to be mild steel but it's high tensile. So I think it's got a number 2080 or 4050 or 2732. There's some number they give it, but it's like it's still mild steel. You can drill it, but it's very, very hard. It's very rigid. And this particular bit here, I found a hole. I haven't quite completely drilled that hole totally out yet. It slowly goes right through. You can see it under here. And I'm only through to about there. I've got to completely drill that hole right through. Okay, is that one? Something thinner. Where are we? I can't find anything thin. Anyway, I'm nearly through that. And the other thing that I used this for, which was killer, was on this thing. I've had that for like this drill. I've had it for a millennium. I've got a new drill there, but I haven't got an end for it. Those ends, I've been hitting them with hammers and trying to burn them. I just put it on the press and just squashed that out. Now that thing, it kept coming out. That's been coming out for like 10 years, and I finally was able to crush that. And so now that's a beaut. That's because that's exactly the right size for that drill. As you can see, it's a bit. The drill needs. I need a new drill, but it's still working right. But ain't broken, don't fix it. But this press, it's coming in really handy. And the great part is I wanted a nice big thick bit of steel to mount this motor on, and that was lovely. This is beautiful thickness. That's really nice, and as you can see, it's bolted to that. I've got a new journal there. I'll have to recut one because that's a bit iffy. I've cut too much of that off. But I fitted it and I got it on. It does fit. And the idea is it leans back on that bearing and it goes through that hole. This actually sits vertical. That's actually at a right angle. And then I've got this bit here which connects up to the motor somehow. I'm not really quite sure how that goes on, but I think it's something like that, and it'll sit on the back, and it'll be a really super solid connection. Trying to find all my bolts at the moment. These are a weird size. These are old early. I think they're called BSC, British Standard Course. I'm not really sure what they are. They're very close to metric, but they're not metric, and I'm not really sure whether they're going to be easy to get. I've got some bolts here that seem to be the same, but I can't get them all the way through, so I'm going to have to get there and screw these in. I don't seem to have a tap this size. Yeah, but it's coming along nicely. Another thing I want to talk about quickly, I'm a panel beater, and I used to say to people, oh, we do big jobs, This job would be equivalent to doing a quarter front of a car. I was amazed how much work there is involved in this. This is what I'm finding with engineering. And you think, oh, well, there's a panel, but he do a lot of filing and rubbing down. I worked for Ross and Hambridge. I worked for quite a few engineering places. I worked for GC Diesels. Not for long, I had metal breakdown at GC, which is very unfortunate, but yeah, I love working in the engineering places. And at Ross and Hambridge, I two jobs. One was a big ream off a big, well, I don't know what it was, some big crane or something, and it was about it had about a 6-inch diameter chrome shaft, and I had to use one of those milling attachment bits and dig a kind of an oval hole. It had touched the power line, and they had the liquid metal, and I had to grind out the thing with this milling kind of thing on the end of a kind of a Dremel type of tool, and then put this liquid metal in there, get all the air out of it, and then I had to file it down. And that, you know, it's almost comparable with panel beating. It's a fair bit of filing. You do a lot of filing in engineering. Another one was I had to ream out. It was a shaft in the back of a tractor, and it had about a 3-inch bolt. It was what the pivot for the bit on the back. I'm not going into technical things because I don't know much about tractors. You know, they've got wheels. There you go. That's what I know about tractors. But I had to ream out the main shaft, and I was there for like, I don't know how long it took me, probably an hour and a half or something, reaming this thing out, because you couldn't really measure it because it was a ream, even though you probably could. Basically you had to ream it out a little bit and then try it, ream it out a little bit and then try it. So it's quite a lot of work involved. So engineering is surprisingly intense. So you really have to reassess. If you're a panel beater and you've got a lathe and you're starting to do engineering, the biggest mistake I made was underestimating how much work was involved. The bloke at Ross and Hambridge put a motor on a frame, and he said to me something that really surprised me. He said, it's a lot of work. I didn't know what he meant. Now I do. Yeah, I'm going to get cut off in a second. But yeah, this is going along nicely. I've got some nice fits for this. This is really, really nice metal. And she's well underway. Clive Rocksinger, over and out.